Welcome to MTG Ectoplasm, your home for spirits and spirit decks in the world of Magic the Gathering. On this episode, I'm going to be talking about an interview about a control master. And fortunately, I asked a question and it was answered. I hope you're curious because this is going to be a really good episode. You know what? Let's get this thing started, shall we? Let's go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on this episode of MTG Ectoplasm. I'm your host, Dwight, aka Di Blanco, a medium that wears an extra large. You can reach me on Twitter at MTG Ectoplasm, or you can email me at mtgectoplasm@gmail.com. I want to hear from you. Also, I have a website out there. Please check it out, mtgectoplasm.com. If you want to donate to the show, please do so. You can do that there. Or also, if you want to sponsor an episode, you can do that there, and I would gladly be appreciated. Now, let me sit there and say, I want to thank you, the listener, for joining me on this episode. I want to thank the hundreds and hundreds of you listening nationally and worldwide. That's right, worldwide. We got new listeners this week from Sweden. I enjoy your meatballs. And you know, IKEA, yeah, the furniture is not that bad. I just, I suck putting it together. You know what? The pleasantries are over. Let me get to the meat and potatoes, right? Everybody wants to know what the hell I'm talking about. How about this control master? What happens if you don't know, if you're unaware? There's an individual named Nikachu MTG. He is a merfolk master. And the cool thing about him is I consider him a mentor. He's the one who's been guiding me through trying to make a very good podcast for you to listen to. And I ask him 101 questions, and he's always there listening. And I want to say thank you to him, first of all. If you're listening to the show, thank you, sir, for doing so. Now, he has a show Monday through Friday in the morning, 10 p.m. Eastern. Now, he's Canadian, so it's 9 o'clock Central or something. But for me, I live on the East Coast in Jersey, 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern. And it's called Coffee and MTG. Now, the cool thing about the show, he brings in guests here and there, and he asks you, the people viewing, to ask questions. You're more than welcome to ask questions. You know, he is a merfolk master, but he is very familiar with decks out there. He will look at your deck and go, you may want to tweak it here or there. And, he gives great information about modern format. And he does believe that Pioneer will eventually come back. Now, on Friday, he had an individual, a guest, who is a control deck master. This individual has been running a white-blue control deck and decided to go white-blue-black Esper. This gentleman's name is TSP Jendrek. It's actually spelled TSP Jendrek, Jendrek, but he pronounces Jendrek, so I will pronounce it TSP Jendrek. Now, I was fortunate to ask a question. Now, I don't want you, the listening audience, taking this the wrong way. I'm not calling the guy out. I'm not saying anything bad about this individual. Okay? I think he provides great information for those who want to play control and believe in control decks. This individual, this master of control, has been winning and been kicking ass thoroughly in modern. Okay, I'm telling you the truth here. This guy, hands down, is basically taking names and kicking ass. So, the way he says things, if you go back and watch this video on Nikachu's live stream, or he calls it streams, another channel he has, it may come across being dismissive, but he's a master. He's kicking ass left and right. He doesn't give a damn who he faces. He's just kicking ass. And that's what I expect from all of you. I want you to sit there, and when you sit there and finish shuffling your deck and you're ready to go, you're looking the opponent in the eyes and going, man, I'm just going to take your lunch money. I'm just going to just beat the hell out of you today. You know what? Thank you for showing up and proving that, my deck is superior over you, and that I have lady luck on my side, and that I'm a very skillful player. That's what I'm hoping. I mean, I know this what I'm saying is coming across very arrogant and cocky, okay? But I'm an only child, and that's how I was raised. That's what my therapist says. I'm joking. I don't have a therapist. So, this was the question asked. Oh, you know what? Let me preface this first before I tell you the question. I knew how this individual was going to ask this question. So I formulated this question in a particular way because I wanted to hear more from him, and I wanted to understand his thought process behind it. Okay? The question is, how do you feel about the matchup against spirits? And which spirit creature is a problem with control decks? This is what TSP Jendrek said. The biggest problem for control decks is not a spirit, but it's the Aether Vial. Yep, you heard that right, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a spirit, it is the Aether Vial. Now, if you were here, if you were listening to last week's episode, I broke down the Aether Vial. And if you remember listening to that episode, that show, there are 3 key facts about the Aether Vial that pisses off people like this. Number 1, ready? Number 1, virtual mana. Number 2, flash. Number 3, cannot be countered. All those 3 things piss off control players. Not just him. Every single control player. That pisses them off. Why? Because as soon as the Aether Vial hits the board on turn 1, you're already basically in the lead. Because by turn 2, you already have 2 mana on the battlefield, and you have 1 stored in the Aether Vial, so you can play a Mausoleum Wanderer. Or a Spectral Sailor. That bothers them. Why? Because you can put a Mausoleum Wanderer or a Spectral Sailor into play with flash. I understand Spectral Sailor already has flash, but you can put it into play at the end of their turn, and they cannot counter it. That's the piece that most people miss. They cannot counter it, and that bothers them. Bothers them to no end. So I want you to remember, the biggest problem for what this individual said, TSP Jendrek, the biggest problem for control decks is not a spirit, but it's the Aether Vial. The next thing he said was, I believe spirits has always been a good matchup against spirits. Well, you know what? It takes a lot for a master to come out and blatantly say something like this. It's courageous. I honestly think, and I want to salute and say, you know what, TSP Jendrek knows his deck. He realizes that his deck is at a complete disadvantage to spirits. Not only because of the Aether Vial, we have Cavern of Souls. Okay, it may not be able to put our creatures in the battlefield with flash. Okay, it does not store that extra virtual mana like the Aether Vial. But guess what they can't do, ladies and gentlemen? That's right, they cannot counter our creature. Now, I run a deck very comparable to Dr. Queller. Very comparable to Dr. Queller. There's only like 2 creatures that I don't put in, and I have 2 Path to Exiles in there. That's just my personal preference. Other than that, I'm running basically the same package as he is. I'm running 3 Cavern of Souls in my deck. And you know what? 3 Cavern of Souls, 4 Aether Vial makes a very, very unhappy control player. Basically, I want you to think about this. You play, just hypothetically, you play Cavern of Souls, you say spirits, on turn 1. You tap it, and then put Aether Vial on the battlefield. What do you think is running in that guy's head, that individual's head, that control player? What do you think what that individual's thinking? Tell me. I'm here. I'm waiting. That's right. That individual's looking at his cards in his hands. He's looking at his deck, or he or she's looking at his deck and going, Yep. That's the thought process. How wonderful. It's like oh, it's wonderful. It's like coming out of the shower after being dirty and filthy and grimy all day and just going, I feel clean. I feel cleansed. That's how beautiful it is. Cavern of Souls, Aether Vial against a control deck. Just about doing that on turn 1. Oh, it's going to be game 1. Turn 1, game 1. Man. Man. I'm smiling ear to ear, let me just tell you. But that's got to be rough. Now, this individual, this control deck master, did say something that I admit pissed me off. But I'm not calling him out. Not saying he's wrong, because you know what? He is right. That's the worst part. It pissed me off that he was right. And this is what he said. I believe spirits are only good if you draw an Aether Vial on turn 1. You have to master on drawing your card to make sure you have an Aether Vial in your hand. I believe spirits have the highest delta with vial draws and non-draws. Now you're going to go, Dwight, what the hell does that mean? The highest delta. What are you talking about? What TSP Jendrek is saying is very it makes tons of sense. Because the Aether Vial comes out on turn 1, and because each turn we can uptick the Aether Vial, it puts us at a higher advantage. If we do not have an Aether Vial, we don't have that virtual mana to play. We don't have that virtual mana to play to sit there and put a creature on the board state to sit there and get ahead of that deck. He is hoping that if we don't have an Aether Vial, we fall behind and can't do anything. We cannot respond. That's what he's hoping for. He believes, hands down, Control can beat spirits if the spirit player, that spirit pilot, does not have an aether vial on the board. He believes that he has the advantage. You know what? He may be right. It may be a hard pill for me to swallow, but he may be right. But I'm an arrogant, cocky son of a bitch. That arrogance, it's really hard for me to go, you know, I hate to share this, but I'm an old school guy. Very old school guy. And I used to watch a lot of wrestling back in the day. And there was this gentleman. He was named Bret Hart, Canadian. And he used to say this one thing. I'm the best there is, the best there was, the best there's ever going to be. That's a motto I live by every day. Realistically, I'm not the best there is. Realistically, I'm not the best there was. Realistically, I'm not the best there ever has been. But my goal, day to day, when I wake up in the morning, is to be the best I personally can be that day. That I'm better than I was yesterday, and today's Dwight is better than every other Dwight that preceded me that day, or preceded my past. And when I hear Jendrek, and this is not me calling him out, okay? He's a nice, wonderful individual. But I want to go toe-to-toe with this guy. I want to get my spirit deck, my Azorius, beautiful Azorius deck, and go 1-1 on him. 1v1. Because I want to prove to him Spirits is the best deck in Magic. No matter what format, I believe Spirits, hands down, is the best deck in Modern. He knows that Spirits has the advantage. I want to prove it. I want to take out my Ether Vials single-handedly. Just go, nope, no Ether Vials. I'll put in something else, and I want to wreck you. But realistically, he does have a point. Why? Why does Jendrek, why is he correct and he has a point here? It's because of this. Because it's difficult for us to sit there and flash in a selfless spirit. It is very difficult for us to do that when a supreme verdict is cast. It can't be done. And if our man is tapped out and a supreme verdict is cast, you know what? That spell queller we have in our hand ain't going to do nothing. That's right. He's hoping that we don't have that Aether Vial there. He's praying that we don't have that Aether Vial anywhere near 3 or 2 because the fact of the selfless spirit or the spell queller. Because he knows, hands down, any board wipe that he tries to do ain't never going to happen. But he knows, quote unquote, every spirit, if you have an Aether Vial, is good because of the instant speed and can't be countered. They can wreck you. Let me repeat that again. Every spirit is good if you use your Aether Vial. Instant speed and can't be countered. Quote, end quote, they can wreck you. They, as you, the spirit pilot listening to me right now, can wreck a master like TSP Jendrek if you have an Aether Vial because he's scared to death of it. Now, he ended up answering the next part of the question I had. Which spirit creature is a problem with control decks? And he says this. Spell Queller, Selfless Spirit, and Mausoleum Wanderer. Why? Think about it. He's scared to death of the Spell Queller because it stops him from casting the spells that are affecting our board state. That's right. Our Spell Queller affects them mentally. We live free in their mind. That Spell Queller does. Because whatever they're trying to do against us, no. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. The Selfless Spirit. Why is he bothered by the Selfless Spirit? Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. They're running a Supreme Verdict. I'm going to share the deck list with you. I'm going to put it online as soon as this episode gets posted. I'm going to put it right directly underneath it, and I'm going to break down the deck too here, because they have a Supreme Verdict, one in the main and one in the sideboard, and there's a reason why. They want to wipe your board because they're scared to death of what all these spirits are going to do. And if you have a Lord coming up like God, they're scared. They're literally petrified of you. And then Mausoleum Wanderer. Why Mausoleum Wanderer? Because if they cast something that's going to target one of your creatures, like say a Lord or a Spell Queller that you end up removing something. Hell, if you sit there and use your Skyclave apparition to get rid of something that's on the board state, they're going to want to get rid of that. They don't want you to have creatures on the board. When I share with you this deck, you're going to understand why they don't want a single creature on the board. 0 creatures, they win. You have a minimum 1 or 2, you have the edge. You have the victory. That's why they're scared to death of your Aether Vial. And they should definitely be scared to death of that Cavern of Souls. Just saying. Now, later on, they were asked about another creature. They were asked about Unsettled Mariner. Now you're going to go, Dwight, what the hell do I care about Unsettled Mariner? Unsettled Mariner hasn't been in our sideboard or in the main deck in over a year. It was cute when it came out in Modern Masters. We thought it could do something because it was, a shapeshifter? But no, it did nothing. This is what he said, okay? I'm breaking it down. Basically, he's afraid to death that you pair this with the Mausoleum Wanderer. He's scared that if you, his spirits have a Mausoleum Wanderer and a Unsettled Mariner, that's real problems. Why? Because he wants to target all your creatures. So, basically, he wants to target your creature. He has to pay 1. And then you have the Mausoleum Wanderer. You sacrifice that. No, he has to pay another 1, so he has to pay 2. That sucks. He's getting taxed. Just imagine you go to McDonald's. I order for the dollar menu. I want a burger, a fry, and a drink for $1 each, right? You get to the cashier, and they're like, that's $10. No. I ordered 3 things from the dollar menu. That's $3. Oh, no, sir. There's a tax. What? Now go pound sand. That's what Unsettled Mariner is telling. Unsettled Mariner and Mausoleum Wanderer is telling these control decks. Pound sand. But what I find funny, hysterical, is that he forgot about 2 other cards that are going to tell him to pound sand. 2 glorious cards that he forgot about. The first one, obviously, is Drug School Captain. Why? Because it gives every single one of your creatures, with the exception of himself, hexproof. And then the glorious, wonderful Rattle Chains. Why? Because, I'm going to give this target spirit hexproof. And you know what? I'm going to give all my other spirits that are in my delicious hand, that's right, they're going to have flash now. And because I have a Cavern of Souls, guess what? They're going to come in 1, 2, 3, and there's nothing you can do about it. So we get 2 of the 3 from the Aether Vial. Or what 2 out of 3 what the Aether Vial can do, with the exception of the Virtual Mana. Flash, it cannot be countered. Now, I want to break down this Esper Control deck that has been kicking ass in Modern. All right? I'm going to break it down card by card. They're running 4 Snapcaster Mages. Now you're going to go 20. Every control deck runs 4 Snapcaster Mages. Well, hello, guys. This is Control. That's what they do. Now, they're running 4 Planeswalkers. It surprised me. I was like, okay. Now they're running Teferi. You go, oh, wait, of course. White, blue. Of course they're running Teferi Time Raveler. No. Teferi Time Raveler, ladies and gentlemen, is in the sideboard. What? Yeah. Teferi Time Raveler is in the sideboard. The one that's in the main, 2 of them, is Teferi Hero of Dominaria. That's right. Teferi Hero of Dominaria. The 3 generic mana, 1 white, and 1 blue. You know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? We can't touch it. Unfortunately, because what? That's right. Spell Queller. Can't remove it from the game. Neither can Skyclave Apparition, because both of those cards are 4 or less. So we're screwed. We have to get this creature. We have to get to this Planeswalker. This is, to me, I'm telling you, this is their win condition. This Planeswalker. Now you're gonna go, wait, come on now. How is this a win condition? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you're aware, but the ultimate of Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, is lethal. You heard that right. It is lethal. Why? Because whenever they draw a card, they get to exile a permanent. Now you're going to go, well, who's permanent? Are you talking about my permanent? No, I'm going to read it, quote unquote. It's a -8. Now, Teferi comes in with a +4. You get an emblem with, whenever you draw a card, exile target permanent and opponent controls. You're gonna, well, how many cards are they drawing? This is a control deck. Control really doesn't draw cards. Well, ladies and gentlemen, they're running 2 Jace the Mind Sculptors. Last time I checked, Jace can draw cards and bounce things and does a whole bunch of other shenanigans that Jace does, right? Yep. Now, that's 4 creatures, 4 Planeswalkers, and I'm telling you that Teferi, it's their win condition. Now I'm going to get to their 27 spells. That's right, 27 spells. They're running 4 Fatal Push. Okay, that sucks. That affects our creatures. They're running 4 Ops. Draw a card and what? That's right. They get to scry. 1 Spell Snare. They get to have eliminate another creature destruction. Logic Knot counter. Mana Leak. They're running 3 of those. Now, they're running 2 Force of Negations. Now, I'm going to bring down these two cards together and explain to you. They're running 2 Archmage's Charms and 3 Esper Charms. Now, the reason why I'm letting you know about these 2 cards is they're using these primarily to draw cards. Draw cards means it works with Teferi and we're losing permanents. But be aware Note, note, hint, hint, wink, wink. Esper Charm can have us discard 2 cards from our hand. So, say if you do have that Selfless Spirit, say if you do have that Spell Queller in your hand, not good. You better put it on the battlefield quickly. Just imagine you have that drug school captain in your hand. Pump up your guys to hurry up and smash Teferi in the face. And they get it and goes into the graveyard. Well, I hope you were packing those Moreland Haunts. That's all I got to say about that. So just be aware that Archmage's Charm and Esper Charms primarily draw a card, but be aware of what Esper Charm can do. Now, they're also running 2 Kaya's Guile. That's right, Kaya's Guile. Now, I'm bringing this up because they can do 2 of these spells at the same time, or 2 different modes. Well, more than likely, what they're going to have us do is sacrifice a creature. Why? Because they don't want to beat Teferi up. And also, create a 1/1 creature token. Here we go. Creature 1/1 spirit token with flying so they can block. That's more than likely what they're going to do with that. They want to make sure they eliminate our creatures. And Kaya's Guile does a good job of it. Next thing you know, they have 3 cryptic commands. We all know what cryptic command does, but more card drawing, countering, and tapping all our creatures so we can attack. And then finally, 1 Supreme Verdict in the main. Why board wipe? Because they're scared to death of all our creatures. Now, the lands. They're running 25 lands. They're running 1 Castle Ventress, 1 Drowned Catacombs, 1 Godless Shrine, 1 Hollowed Fountain, 3 Islands, 2 Mystic Gates, 1 Plains, 4 Polluted Delta, 1 River of Tears. Tears, Jesus. Who runs River of Tears? That brings a tear to my anyone who plays that card. Hell, why isn't he running like the BS Port Town? Okay, he's also running a Sunken Ruins, a 1 Swamp, and 2 Watery Grave. Okay, so we see here what's going on. This deck is built for destroying creatures, drawing cards, so he can destroy our permanents. Now in the sideboard, okay, 15 cards on the sideboard, obviously. He's running 1 Field of Ruin. Now, I don't like this card. It bothers me because of the fact that I love my Cavernous Souls. Well, it also affects me too, because if he's going to destroy all my creatures, guess what I'd like to run and have in my on the battlefield too? Moreland Haunt. Thank God I'm running 2. So I'm telling you, me personally, I'm running 2. It's up to you. You can choose to run 1, but I prefer 2. Just beware 1 Field of Ruin. Now, a couple cards that don't make a difference to us. He's running 2 Aether Gusts and 2 Celestial Purge. Meh. 1 Dovin's Veto. Well, I hate to tell you, if we're using our Cavernous Souls or Aether Vial, that don't mean nothing to us. 1 Elimination. Again, more creature destruction. 1 Force of Negation. More countering. 2 Kaya's Guile in the sideboard. So, do not be surprised if we end up seeing more of this card in the main after we kick their ass first game. Then they're running 1 Mystic Dispute, obviously blue against blue. Running at 1 Supreme Verdict, not surprised. And then remember, they're running 2 Teferi Time Raveler in the sideboard. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do not be surprised if we ended up seeing that played against us because of the fact that it slows down our flash creatures. It affects our flash creatures, but we can get it with the Skyclave Apparition. We can get it with Spell Queller, or we can just punch it in the face. Okay, I'm not really. It bothers me that card's there, but I think we can handle it. And then last but not least, Monastery Mentor, sorry. He's running one of them. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. I don't like creatures that make creatures and then bolster them up through prowess. Not a fan of it. I don't like it. Can we get around? Can we beat it? Yeah. But you can consider their deck plays a lot of spells, and because they're doing that, it makes them multiply. And humans, because this is a human, I consider them viruses, and they spread, and that's what this card does. I don't like this card. Am I overly concerned? No, but it is something to keep an eye out on. So, let's go back. Shall we? Let's go back. Here in my hands, my script. I asked the question through my friend Nikachu MTG. Please check him out on YouTube. He asked the question to the Control Deck Master running Esper. How do you feel about the matchup against spirits, and which spirit creatures is a problem with control decks? Remember what he said, ladies and gentlemen. Spirits has the advantage. Spirits has the advantage here. If you're going to play against control, make sure you have an Eighth Vial in hand. I'm not saying it's a moral imperative. It's like a slight rule, but if you gotta keep it milling, like a mulligan. It may not be worth it. But understand, if you have an Eighth Vial in your hand and you have 2 mana or 1 mana where you can play a creature on turn 2, you have the advantage. Take advantage of it and beat them. Beat them. Make them realize. Understand one simple fact. Spirits is the best deck. Remember, Spell Queller lives in their minds whenever they see spirits. They're scared to death of Spell Queller. They don't like your Selfless Spirit, because whenever they try to remove our creatures from the game or out and out destroy, they can't do it because Selfless Spirit gives us indestructibility. They don't like our Mausoleum Wanderer. Why? Because we can interact with them and we can counter whatever they're trying to counter. You want to control my board state? No. Mr. Control Guy. You will not control me. I will control you, and I will control your thought process. I run the show here. I, the Spirit Master. I, the Spirit Pilot. I, running this deck, will kick your ass today. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what I'm asking you. I want you to look deep in your heart and realize one thing. You see a controlled deck, guess what? Don't get arrogant and cocky, but know one thing. You have the advantage. And I don't care if it's a Pro Tour player in front of you or Sally or Jack in front of you who you've been friends with for years. You have the advantage. Kick their ass. Make sure their life total goes down to 0. Now that being said, it's time for the shout out section. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm shouting out the best of the best, the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme. And you know what? I'm going to start in Legacy. There is a player right now who's using Azorius, and they keep getting in the top 4. And they've been getting in the top 4 for the last 2 months. Now, I'm not going to say your name. I'm not going to say your full name. But Fran, if you're listening, I believe in you. everybody else in the spirit community believes in you, Fran. I want you, the next time you play, I want you to remember me telling you this. We believe in you. Go out there and kick ass, Fran. Okay? Now, this is the first. I'm happy about it. I have never done this before. In historic, holy crap, historic. First place with a mono blue build in a Mage Super Series number 9, Michael Nolan. Michael Nolan, congratulations. Thank you for kicking ass in historic. Now, in Pioneer, March 25th, this individual won 5-0 in an MTGO Pioneer League with an Azorius build. And I'm going to butcher your name. Just letting you know, I'm definitely going to butcher your name. But I'm going to try to pronounce it. Hyryu. Hyryu. Hyriuu. Hyryu. Congratulations for kicking ass. Thank you. Now, in Modern, March 26th, this individual won 5-0 MTGO Modern League with an Azorius build. You know what? This individual is the pillar. He is the icon. He is the individual that keeps on kicking ass left and right. He walks in and says, I don't have any bubble gum and I'm here to kick ass. I don't, you know what? Forget all the tropes. You know what? Just give me the goddamn trophy. Okay? He is the master of masters. He's the true spirit master in my eyes. You know, I'm not besmirching any other spirit master here. But this individual has been rocking it left and right. Dr. Queller. Dr. Queller, you know what? Take a bow, my man. Take a bow. Kicking ass left and right. Holy crap. I need to interview you, dude. Really. If you listen to this podcast, please reach out to me. Please. I think the rest of my listening audience, the hundreds and hundreds listening worldwide, and thanks to Sweden now listening as well, they want to hear from you. They want to hear your voice. They want to hear your thoughts, your ideas, your principles, your values. They want to know what it takes to sit there and kick ass like you do week in and week out in Modern. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? Come to that time. That's right. That's right. Come to that time. You can reach out to me on Twitter, MTG Ectoplasm, or email me, mtgectoplasm@gmail.com. And finally, I have my website. Please check it out, mtgectoplasm.com. You can donate. Please do. Or if you want to sponsor an episode, you can do that there. Anything you do, I would gladly be appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, I got nothing more to say. I'm tired. I need to go to sleep. I think I passed my bedtime. I'm out of here. Good night, everybody.